Yeah, let's talk about Harbaugh real quick. Yeah, let let's talk about it because he's got a big time decision to have to make in this next couple weeks. He's not going to think about it right now. He's going to celebrate this for a little bit, but then he's got some big time future stuff to decide. I mean, he did win a title at his alma mater, had a huge record, and I believe, if memory serves me right, this is their first outright title since like somebody mentioned the Truman administration. So, and I think the last title they had was in '97, but it was shared because I think he still had BCS stuff or something. I don't know,
Oh,
and it was shared with Nebraska. So I'm sorry to bring that up for Nebraska fans,
huh.
but yeah. So he's made some history there, but he's got a big time future decision to make: to stay at college or head to the NFL. And he's got all this stuff at Michigan kind of lingering with these investigations. And he only coached in, I believe, what, 5 games this year with 2 separate suspensions. And so the NFL is calling. There's some jobs out there. You got a job like the Chargers that's open. You got Washington that's open. Raiders are open. And there's a lot of others. So Matt, I want to get your thoughts on this and I'll give mine. What do you think Harbaugh does? Does he stay at college or does he head to the NFL?
Well, so I guess my first question is: are there still lingering potential punishments out there? Because I kind of thought it was done and over with. He served a suspension. I thought it was over with. Is there a
I
chance of more or sanctions
I
and stuff?
I think there's still a chance of something more. I think there's still investigations with the sign stealing that are going on at the moment. Um so I mean that could be potentially some stuff that he can take a look at as like, okay, maybe that's coming down the line.
Okay. Well, I think if there's anything coming down the line, if he has the radar signal going off, he's gone for sure, right? We've seen this before. Pete Carroll, USC, right? You catch wind that you might be getting something levied against you, get the heck out of there. They can't do
Yeah.
anything to you if you're in the NFL, right? They can punch the school, but you're out. Your hands are clean at that point, right? So I think if there are any suspensions coming, anything at all coming, he gets out of there. He goes out a champion, right? He wanted to go back to Michigan just to win a title with his alma mater. He did it now. So it's like also you've accomplished what you set your goal to be.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see him getting out of there. I feel like even though I don't think it's the right move, to me, Vegas definitely seems like a team that would want to throw like Vegas, you keep on hearing them say they want a big name head coach, which I don't even know what that means. Like, it's a coach, not a quarterback. Like, what do you mean you want a big name head coach? That's dumb to me. But they do. We've seen that before with Gruden, right?
Yeah.
And I would say even McDaniels, to an extent, kind of falls in that same boat a little bit of a name that everybody knows. Harbaugh is definitely one of those guys. I can see the Raiders also giving Harbaugh some roster control, which I think is definitely a thing for him. Remember, that was one of the big rifts with him in San Francisco was roster control.
Right.
And I would say it's turned out pretty darn good for San Francisco going the direction they've gone since then.
Yeah.
But, it went pretty well for Harbaugh too. And so it's not like Harbaugh proved that he couldn't do that kind of thing. When you are a college coach, you have a lot of control. You have all of the control over recruiting and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so I definitely think that it's going to be a situation where can he go to get that control? I don't think New England, if Belichick leaves, I think that's part of their problem in New England is
Yeah,
they
I
don't
know.
want Belichick to have that. I don't think that's the case in Tennessee because they just hired a new GM. The two spots I see where that's the case is either Las Vegas or a team who does not currently have a general manager, being Carolina. Those are the two teams that I'm looking at. But however, I think Carolina is such a mess and so far away from winning. I don't think Harbaugh's going to put himself in that position.
Mm-mm.
And so to me, Vegas is the place.
I think I take a look at this and, you know, Harbaugh, I mean, he does have it kind of made at Michigan now if he does decide to stay. I mean, he won them the championship. He got them the thing that they've been craving for. They've been their top rival 3 straight years. And it was a team designed specifically to beat Ohio State, and they've done that. And they're rolling now. Again, they're 40-3 in the last 3 years. I think one thing for Michigan to take in consideration if he does leave is where they go. And I don't know
Yeah.
if they go. I don't know if they go outside. They may stay inside and get the guy that was the interim coach, Sharon Moore, because technically he did beat Ohio State. He's 1-0. So, I mean, technically he took care of Ohio State. So I think he gets consideration.
How many teams can say we're hiring a guy who's never lost a game as a head coach?
Nobody.
Like,
and one of his wins is against Ohio State.
He's undefeated as a head coach. Like, yeah, it is. Yeah. So I'm with you on that. I think they could very well stay in house and go that direction.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. I do think Harbaugh would try and limit who he brings with him. I do think he would bring Mentor, the DC, since he's had NFL experience. He would bring him with him. Other than that, I think he does go to the NFL. I think he goes there, and I'm looking at all these teams. One idea that hasn't been mentioned because they haven't fired their coach yet, is Chicago. I mean, depending on what they want to do with Fields and Eberflus, that could be appealing. You have some cap space. You got the number 1 pick. You got the number 9 pick. So you got some stuff to work with. You're going to get one of the top quarterbacks, whether it's Caleb or Drake May. So that could be appealing. But if it's as far as jobs that are open right now, I see it with Vegas, but I kind of feel like they should roll with Pierce.
I do too. Yeah. Let me cut you off there real quick, Ryan, because I think I said it even in a way of like I don't think they should do it, but I think they will do it with Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce got everything out of that team you possibly could. But we've seen them throw a big bag of money at a head coach in a season, right? When wasn't that the what's his name? I almost just said Rod Barajas. That's not his name. That's a backup catcher from the 2000s. What was the name of the special teams coach? Now he's out in Green Bay, who took over and was great.
I can't think of it.
But yeah, it was Rod something. But he was really good after Gruden got fired, right? And they still grabbed their big bag of money and gave it to Josh McDaniels after they already gave an even bigger bag of money to Gruden, right? Yeah. I just feel like there are badly run franchises out there that make the same mistakes over and over and over. I'm with you. If I ran the Raiders, Antonio Pierce, you earned this job. Go get him, my man.
Yeah.
But I don't run the Vegas Raiders.
Yeah. No. Unfortunately. I'm sure the Raiders players would be like, thank you for keeping Pierce.
Who's this guy out in Kansas City on a podcast? Yeah, we'll take him. Come on in, man. Mike Mayock 2.0, baby.
Oh, man. I think Washington is potentially another one. But, of course, they've gone and hired Bob Myers, which kind of like, really? Bob Myers? What in the world?
I love it. I absolutely love what they're doing with the search committee. Like, Spielman is there to make sure that's like a football knowledgeable guy, but I love Bob Myers coming in to do this though. Remember, Ryan, the Golden State Warriors, I was one of them. I was upset when Mark Jackson got fired. And I was like, what the heck are you doing? You got this team that's burgeoning. Like they had their breakout year under Mark Jackson. And everything looked so good. And they fired Mark Jackson and go bring Steve Kerr in from TNT. Are you kidding me? Sometimes you need to think outside the box, Sometimes it's going to blow up in your face by doing that. You hire John Gruden. But sometimes thinking outside the box is going to go really, really well. And if you vet the guy and he does have a good mind for it, like I actually really I think it is the complete opposite of what the previous hiring system was there, right? Much like the Vegas Raiders, being very much, just give me a big name, a name everybody knows. Washington was kind of that way. And Washington also was very much kind of an old school Ram team. I think Ron Rivera kind of embodied that also. I love this idea that quickly we're seeing new ownership in Washington going in a very new direction with new ideas outside the box thinking. It could blow up in their face, right? Bob Myers may come back and say, all right, guys, go get me, Jamie Eisenberg from CBS Fantasy Football Today. And that's our head coach now. And it's like, we'll see how this goes. Give me Matt Mormann from Views from the 573. It's like, Jamie, I don't even know if this is a good idea, right? It could go terribly. I'm excited to see I've never been excited to see a head coaching search before. I'm excited to see what that one lands because I think that Bob Myers coming in is actually a really outside the box, really smart, fun way of going about this.
Yeah. Hey, there's this Draymond guy that quit basketball. Let's try him out at tight end.
Hey, you can do that too.
We'll see how many fights he gets into and see if he tries to choke hold somebody. So, I mean, that leads me to think Harbaugh potentially, because that is out on that side of the coast. That is close to Baltimore, and he wouldn't have to face, and he wouldn't have to face John that much,
right,
in the NFC. Now he would have to face the Cowboys, the Eagles twice a year, but I think you can take a look at that. They got the number 2 pick. They got all that salary cap. They got 9 picks to play with. I think 4 or 5 in the top 100. They have a lot of potential there to go and make some moves in free agency and in the draft. Harbaugh can get his guy, whether Caleb goes to one, he can get Drake May or something like that. I think it would be an appealing spot. I think, honestly, Washington and probably the Chargers would be the two I'm looking at, because the Chargers, despite their salary cap stuff, and that's a real thing. That's a real thing to take in consideration, is that they're in a decent spot. You got Justin Herbert. You know what he can bring. You got your franchise quarterback. You got your franchise left tackle in Rashawn Slater. So you got a couple guys there. You got the 6th overall pick. And even though you're in a division with Mahomes and with the Raiders and the Broncos, with all the stuff going on there, it might be appealing in Harbaugh saying, hey, let me go out on the West Coast again. I got a franchise guy. I don't have to worry about developing him. I know what I'm getting. And let's try to rebuild this thing. I think it could be an appealing spot for him.
I think the Chargers are probably the most appealing team to a guy who especially wants to win now.
Yeah.
To me, I think Atlanta is the most appealing spot for a team that maybe a head coach who's willing to take a year to build it, right? But if you're wanting to step in and try to immediately win, I do think the Chargers are probably the best spot, because they're the only team of the teams with openings that has a stud at every pillar spot, right? Quarterback, Herbert. Left tackle, Rashawn Slater. Joey Bosa at edge rusher, right? So, like, every kind of pillar premium position, I've got a guy already, in those spots. So I see that too with the Chargers. I see that too. I wonder, Chargers aren't exactly known for shutting out money, though. Oh dear. Sorry, Ryan.
I know.
I missed the mute button. I went to hit it.
But there's some spots for Harbaugh to take a look at, and we'll have to see if Chicago does open up. But I think he does head to the NFL. I think he's fine with what he did at Michigan. He's left them better than what it was before he got there, and he's got some good opportunities to go out and do it. But yeah, it will depend on what kind of spot that is. If with him wanting a lot of control, if that's going to be a hurdle for some teams. If not, then great, you got Jim Harbaugh. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. But I think he's going to the NFL.
Control, money, and a win now team. Those are the 3 things he's looking for.